Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for our weekly preparation video for the upcoming week in the stock market. And the main question right now is, how nervous are investors? Well, we're going to get into all of that, but first we're going to do a little bit of a recap on this last week, because we did have a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and we did have a lot of bleeding and sell-off, especially on Wednesday and Thursday. And Friday looked like it might be Black Friday, but we did see a bounce back up in the market. So we had a nice rebound. We could see the nice green candlesticks on the SPY and the triple Qs. Now we have jumped quite a bit on the relative strength index, and then on the MACD, it does appear that we might be seeing a bullish cross. So some right now are still fearful, thinking that we will get a drop off, and others are thinking that the rally is just about to start. On the fear and greed index, we were all the way in levels of extreme fear on Wednesday and Thursday, but with Friday's bounce, we did see a jump up on that index. And also the volatility index was at its highest point this month on Thursday, but then on Friday we did get a nice drop, showing that the volatility going down a little bit in the markets. And right now we are facing the three-headed dragon of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which is inflation, interest rates, and tariffs. So we're getting a mix of all of that, and we also have this government shutdown. And with the government shutdown, it's making things a little bit more complicated for the Federal Reserve. They are a bit blind, because just as we could read right here, the PPI data numbers were delayed once again. And this has been the theme throughout the entire month. All the numbers that the Federal Reserve typically uses to make decisions are being delayed. On Friday, we are supposed to have numbers around CPI, the Fed's preferred measurement for inflation, but likely we are still going to be in this government shutdown, and they will not be able to get their hands on the data. And I think this is the big picture with the government shutdown, because if you follow the money trail, you could really see what the big picture is presenting. And that is that the Federal Reserve has their next big meeting in 10 days. And right now there's a 100% projection that they do cut. We know that the Federal Reserve is data dependent. So if they get any data that changes their mind, the projection here could always change. So I believe that the government does not want the Federal Reserve to get their hands on that data. And so I do expect us to be shut down leading all the way into Friday and beyond, and probably through the rest of the month until the Federal Reserve makes that decision, because the numbers have not been looking great with the jobs market and inflation. And the Federal Reserve all year long has been very stagnant with their decisions, again saying that they are being data dependent with each one. Every single meeting up until last month was pause, 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 and the government and the president does not want to see that. So I do expect the Federal Reserve to still be blind going into this meeting at the end of the month. The only piece of key data that they will get is going to be the CPI for September, and that is because of the COLA, the cost of living adjustments. This is for Social Security, and so this will be the only piece of data that the Federal Reserve gets. But I do believe that this data won't be enough for the Federal Reserve to change their mind. The markets may be a little freaked out on Friday, however, when we do get the data, because I do expect inflation to be rising once again. We have seen inflation accelerating over the last months, and I don't expect any different with the numbers for the CPI with COLA. But again, just a small number. The rest of the data the Federal Reserve is not getting. And so we have all of that going on right now. And then we also do have a big earnings week this upcoming week. So we got some massive players shares with Tesla reporting on the 22nd on Wednesday. I think Tesla is going to be a big catalyst for the markets if they do have a positive earnings report. This is one of the biggest movers for the markets. The markets are going to have their eyes on Tesla going into Wednesday. So I am hoping that we do get a positive earnings report from Tesla. We also have a lot of other big tech earnings this week, and I think all these tech earnings could be a major catalyst for the market, especially with all the economic data being delayed, because often economic data could also work as a catalyst going the other way. If numbers do come in negative, it could cause a market sell-off, but right now we are not going to see any data, most likely. Again, following the money trail, that is what is presenting to me, at least in my opinion. You know, as always, this is not financial advice, just financial entertainment and my opinion. So my opinion going into this week, I am going to be a bit cautious, but overall I am still more bullish than bearish. I think in the short term we have seen a mini bear, but the overall bigger picture is very bullish, especially with what the Federal Reserve is doing right now, which is a larger cycle of quantitative easing. But I am recording this on Saturday night, so there is always the chance that something comes out by the time you watch this on Sunday, especially around our president, because on Truth Social, this has been a big mover in the markets lately. At any point, Trump could come out and say anything, and this could cause a shockwave in the markets for the better or for the worse. We saw Trump talking about China a lot recently in both a positive sentiment and a negative sentiment. In one Truth Social post, basically saying everything is over with China, they have betrayed the world, and then in the next saying have no concerns, everything is okay. This is something right here that nobody can predict. So at any time, Trump could say something on Truth Social and it could change everything. So just keep your eyes on Truth Social, put some notifications for it, because the president has been saying some wild things that have been heavily influencing the markets. Otherwise, I am very bullish for the rest of the month. This week, I will be a bit cautious. I will be doing some trading, and if there is blood in the markets, I will consider adding more to my long-term positions, because again, we are in this larger cycle of quantitative easing and things are looking very bullish going in to the end of the year. I just see buying opportunities right now. I thought this last week was a lot of buying opportunities. Things could potentially get worse, and if they do, even more buying opportunities. But I would be curious to hear what you all think in the comments section below. So please drop a comment. Please let me know if you are bullish or bearish on the markets, what you foresee this upcoming week. I always love to hear from all of you. Also, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I will see you guys all in tomorrow's daily talk of stock.